Yo, what's good, fellas, and welcome to the channel. Every week or so, I like to go over the top 10 players at every position. This week, we're on to quarterbacks. Last week, we did receivers, running backs, tight ends. If you want to go check those out, those lists still pretty much stand the same. But today, quarterbacks, what I'm looking for to figure out what the top 10 are is 1, stats, obviously, 2, abilities, and 3, which is different for quarterbacks, what release they actually get. Release plays a major part in making a quarterback top tier. So with that said, let's hop on over to number 10, which is Joe Flacco. Like I just said, number 10 is Joe Flacco. Looking at Joe Flacco's stats, he has 85 speed as well as hits all the throwing thresholds you need for a really good quarterback. What puts Flacco on this list over some of the other 97s is actually his release. He gets Slinger 1, which in my opinion is the second best release in the game. Historically in Madden, Slinger 1 was only put on Green Bay Packer quarterbacks for whatever reason. It was one of the stranger things, but it always made the Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre so much better than the rest of the competition. But ever since that Derrick Henry QB card, EA has been just giving Slinger 1 to anybody, and Flacco actually gets it. So I'm going to refer to this thing called the God Stack a lot throughout this video, and that's basically the best stack you can put on your quarterback. It's Hot Route Master, Set Feet Lead, and Gunslinger. A lot of people also like Gift Wrap, but I didn't include that because that's 1 AP on most quarterbacks on this list, so just add that onto the top. Flacco gets this God Stack for 6 AP. It's not the most expensive, it's not the cheapest, but he gets it. And he also allows you to have 2 other ability points on other players, so you can toss on a 1 AP evasive or a 1 AP route tech while still using Joe Flacco. And for those reasons, and pretty much him just being very good, Flacco's number 10 on my list, something that I don't think anybody had on their bingo card at the start of this Madden season. Next up, I have CJ Stroud, NFL honors, 91 speed, hits most of the passing thresholds, 6'3", 214 pounds. The real reason why CJ Stroud isn't higher is I do not like traditional 2 release. You guys will see a trend in that later on in the video. He does get the God Stack for 7 AP and doesn't get any special X factors, which is another knock on him. But you guys can see here his abilities, not bad at all. The God Stack for 7 is kind of pricey considering you only have 8 on offense. But all around, I think CJ Stroud is a very viable option at this point in the game. Next up on my list is the first 98, and it's the Terry Bradshaw who came out yesterday. The real reason why this Bradshaw is getting knocked down is his stats and traditional 2 release. I just don't like it. At 86 speed is slow, 77 run is not good. He is 6'3" and has good throwing stats. But again, traditional 2 release, I don't care what gunslinger you put on it, I don't enjoy it. But Terry Bradshaw does have a really good ability stack, and that comes here with this Showtime 2 Pass Lead Elite. It's basically Set Feet Elite, but it's unstoppable, it's glowing, it's much better, and it's on for the entire game after 9 plays. And he also gets 0 AP Identifier or Master Tactician, which is really good for 1, and then Gunslinger for 1, so you can have the God Stack on this player for 2 AP. But that doesn't change up for the fact that I don't think the card's stats or release are good, and that is the reason why I have Bradshaw at 8, regardless of the abilities here. Next up on my list, I have the Aaron Rodgers Weekly Wildcard LTD. He's been out for a few weeks now, but the real reason why Rodgers is this far up on the list, considering his stats, I mean, looking at him, 81 speed is slow, but the rest of his stats are really freaking good. I think he has better stats than Bradshaw, but it's the release. He gets Slinger 1. I mentioned this earlier. It's my second favorite release in the game. It's been one of the best releases for years, so maybe I'm slightly biased with that. But also, he gets the God Stack for 5 AP. Bradshaw does beat him out there, but again, I'm a big fan of having a good release, and I think release triumphs anything when it comes to quarterbacking. Here's his last tier. He can get Set Feet for 2, Pass Lead for 3, Hot Route Master, or Slinger for 0. At number 6, this is where I have the LTD Combine Anthony Richardson. You got a Redux, much more cost-friendly to pick up for you boys. And overall, this is just probably the best scrambling quarterback besides number 1. He's 6'4". He's a tank. Size doesn't matter at quarterback. Pause. But if you want a big quarterback, you can't go wrong with Anthony Richardson at 97 speed, 97 throw power. Dude's a menace on the field. He gets the God Stack for, I believe, 6 AP too, so you can get everything you want on this guy. I don't necessarily think you pick up Anthony Richardson, though, to be like your pocket passing quarterback. You got to play like a little bit of a menace with him, and I feel like if that's your play style, Anthony Richardson is your guy. Besides the number 1 option on this list, all around the best. But Anthony Richardson, for what he is number 6. Cracking the top 5 is Will Levis, basically a better Aaron Rodgers in my opinion. Slinger 1 release and 5 AP for the God stack, same as Rodgers, but just has better stats all around. 96 speed, significantly faster, and better throwing stats. He's also 6'3" at 229, is a bigger quarterback on the field. Will Levis is actually a freak of nature. I personally have not used this card, but I mean, just looking at these stats, I definitely might have to pick him up because Will Levis looks really freaking good. At number 4, I have the first Manning brother, Eli Manning. Stats-wise, you might not be too impressed whatsoever, but it's really when you add one more Manning and then 2 Peytons to him, he gets like that 88 speed and becomes a top 4 quarterback in the game. The only issue with that is it's really hard and costly to get. And when I show you who number 1 is, and I'm sure you boys all know who the best quarterback in the game is, it doesn't seem worth it. But if for whatever reason you're an Eli Manning meat rider and you want to pick him up, he has Slinger 5 release and gets the God stack for 4 AP just like this, but when you add in and you combine all the other Mannings, which is a process, he gives +1 speed to the rest of your team, and also I believe gets upwards of 88 speed. So if you run a Giants theme team, or you're just like I said earlier, an Eli Manning cock rider, not a terrible card to pick up for your squad. Cracking open the top 3, I have Peyton Manning. Peyton's above his brother because I like his release more. He has Slinger 3. He also is 1 speed faster, I believe, when fully maxed out. So, I mean, you really can't argue that he's not the better player, but they're very similar. I prefer Slinger 3. Some people prefer Slinger 5. It's all preference. They're all very similar. But like I said about Eli, I don't think it's necessarily worth spending the coins to go get 4 of them because, like, there is a clear front runner at quarterback, and we're gonna go hop into that after I go over number 2. But Peyton Manning, if you are a Tennessee fan or a Peyton Manning meat rider, you might as well give him a try. It's a new quarterback, and I know a lot of people are getting tired of using the number 1 option. So I know a lot of people have switched over to Peyton Manning just because he's new. Coming in at number 2, I have Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes, the only gold 99 quarterback still in the game. Kinda whack to say because he's been in the game since February. Mahomes, though, Slinger 2 release and gets the God stack for 3 AP. You are going to need to put one of your lighted up tokens on it, but if you're spending the coins to get Mahomes, you might as well toss one of the tokens you have on him. I believe we got 2 for free. So, again, Mahomes is number 2, but I'm sorry. You can't beat number 1. Number 1 is Bo Jackson. Bo is basically what Lamar Jackson should be. He has Lamar's release traditional 4, which I haven't said it yet, but is the best release in the game in my opinion. It has the quickest deep ball. He also has 98 freaking speed. For what reason does a quarterback need 98 speed? And let's not even talk, I haven't even touched the abilities yet. Trust, I wouldn't recommend using, but I would recommend using Master Tactician. It's basically a better backyard QB. Just plain and simple. It does cost you 1 AP, but who cares? And then discounted buckets. EA knew the mission with this card. It was just to make it broken. I don't fully understand how they're gonna make somebody better than Bo, except making a card similar to Bo, but just a better Bo. It's the same thing with the Bo running back we talked about last week. It's so broken. It's gonna be hard for them to top it, but that's the list. The top 10. Number 1 hasn't been touched since Bo Jackson came out. Let me know what you boys think about this down below, and I will catch you fellas tomorrow. Peace.